Hey, welcome back, everybody. Before we get going with this round, I've got a new idea that I want to tell you about. I can't take full credit for it. It was actually recommended to me, but this is your chance to vote and give me your opinions on it. We're closing in on episode number 100 of these transition tips episodes. My goal will always be to give you what you need. Because of that, I'm always considering changes that can be of more benefit to you. Well, I got a suggestion that's kind of stuck with me. Starting with episode 100, I'm considering a format change, and I want your input. The recommendation that I got was listener-based questions to drive each episode. Basically, any of you would be able to send me an email, send me a message, tell me where you're at in your career, and ask a specific question regarding your transition or transition in general that is of concern to you. Wouldn't matter where you're at in your career. You might be a long way off, but you've already got some questions. Or you could be a couple months from getting out and there's a specific issue you want information on. What I'd do, take those questions and get all the information that I can. Reach out to the wide group or range of guests and contacts that I've been able to build up through this podcast to get you as much information as possible. But besides answering the question, I'll work information and tips to build out additional tips for the two other transitioning groups. For example, I get a question from somebody who's got 16 years in, and their transition's 4 to 5 years out. I'll get information to answer their question. Then I'll use that question to build out information that applies, in this case, to the close range group and the long range group. So do me a favor, chew on this, and let me know what you think. Send me an email, send me a DM, give me some feedback. Do you like the idea, or does it just sound silly? All right, let's get into this episode. You know, sometimes the hardest thing to see is the thing that's right in front of us. We get so caught up in our own routines, our own way of doing things, that we forget progress doesn't happen where we're comfortable. It happens in the tension, in the pushback, in those moments where you realize the way you've always done it might not be the best way forward. And that realization can sting a little bit. But know this, the people who adapt and who are willing to be the new guy again are the ones who come out stronger on the other side. The ability to evolve is what separates staying stuck from moving forward. So with that, let's get into round 89 of the tactical transition tips. This time the topic is ego versus evolution. For the close range group, those of you looking at your transition right away or you're less than a year out, have a beginner's mindset. When you let go of thinking that you've got it all figured out, you open the door to learning what really matters in the next chapter. For the medium range group, those of you looking at your transition in 5 years or so, expand your comfort zone. By stepping into different roles and taking on challenges that don't feel natural, you're building a foundation of versatility that will serve you when the time comes. And for the long range group, those of you just starting your careers, you've got at least a decade before your transition. Master your self-awareness. When you check your blind spots and refine who you are today, you won't be caught off guard tomorrow. Close range group. You're standing on the edge. Transition isn't some far off concept anymore. Maybe you've got less than a year. Maybe you've already started actually closing everything down. The decisions that you make in this window are going to carry an immediate reaction. They're going to shape not just what job you land, but how quickly you adjust, how much stress you carry, and how confidently you take on the next chapter. You need to go back to having a beginner's mindset. But what does that really mean? Having a beginner's mindset for certain doesn't mean you throw out all of your experience. But what it does mean is recognizing that in your new environment, whether it's corporate, another government organization, or even if you decide to go the entrepreneurship route, your ability doesn't always translate the way you think it does. Employers don't automatically get what you're going to bring to the table. You've got to reframe it in a way that resonates with them. That starts with humility. Start by letting go of the "I already know this" mentality. Yes, it's natural. Our identity is built around being the person in control. But when you sit down in an interview or you're meeting people for the first time, that instinct to control the situation can actually work against you. Think about it this way. Yes, employers want your experience, but they're looking for someone who's adaptable, someone who can learn their systems and figure things out quickly. That means listening more than you talk. It means asking quality questions instead of bragging about your career highlights. When you show up with humility and being curious and being open, it doesn't make you look weak. It makes you look coachable. It makes you stand out. They understand you probably don't know their world yet, but what they want to see is you're willing to learn it. And a benefit of this mindset shift to you is it lowers your stress. You free yourself up to focus on learning. One of the easiest things you can do, trade our jargon and start using theirs. If you continue relying on our jargon, but they're using their jargon, it can feel like two different languages trying to communicate. You're going to be playing in their sandbox, so it's your job to learn their speak, their acronyms, their terms, and what are their priorities. If you're having a conversation, an interviewer, and you can speak in their language, terms like ROI, KPIs, agile workflows, you immediately appear prepared. You reduce friction. You show that you've done your work to step into their world. Real quick, if those terms I just mentioned aren't immediately recognizable, that shows you already have some homework to do. If you want to stand out, fluency in civilian terms becomes one of the most valuable tools you can carry. Along the lines of homework, if you're doing a site walkthrough, say of a potential company, you're at a conference or some sort of industry event, every time you hear a term you don't know or don't understand, make a note of it. Then look it up. Treat it like you're back in school and have a new vocabulary list. But most importantly, learn the language of the new team. Hey, real quick, let's talk surfing and bourbon. The Pendleton Surf Club's all-military surf contest is happening October 9th through the 12th at Church Surf Break on Camp Pendleton. Whether you ride a longboard or a shortboard, if you're active duty, a veteran, or a military spouse, this is your chance to paddle out, compete, and connect. It's 4 days of nonstop action, pro-level judging, raffles, giveaways, and shared stoke with your crew on the sand. Your registration includes meals, contest swag, and the chance to take home the trophy. Spots are limited, and registration closes October 1st, so secure your place now at pendletonsurfclub.com. And for those whose ears perked up when I said bourbon, Pendleton Surf Club has released Board Shack Bourbon, crafted to celebrate the stories, the service, and the surf. Every penny from every bottle sold funds the event and supports the surfers. So even if you don't surf, you can support the event and enjoy some good bourbon. Grab your board, get your bottle, and help give back to military members and veterans. Go check out pendletonsurfclub.com. Something else you can do is take some civilian workplace culture courses. Companies like Vector Solutions, Secure Measures, and Coursera all offer different short courses on corporate culture. I don't have a connection to any of them. I'm just mentioning some names. There are some that are free. There are some that are going to cost you a fee. You have to consider if spending a little now will help you not lose a possible job later. Do a search for courses like workplace communication, civilian leadership styles, team dynamics in the private sector. Most are online, and they're relatively short, time-wise. Now, if your ego starts whispering, "Why would I need to do this? I've led teams. I've made decisions under pressure. I know what leadership is." Just remember, the civilian world looks and plays different. The dynamics aren't the same. And if you want to integrate smoothly, a bit of cultural competency is going to go a long way. Plus, for nothing else, think how it looks when you're in an interview and you can throw out, "I took X course" or "courses." If the interviewers are default conditioned to think our group never comes in having done this, you immediately set yourself apart. You're basically saying, "Hey, I'm serious about this, and I'm serious about bridging the gap, not just relying on my past." In general, you want to become a student of where you're trying to end up. Treat learning like it's an operation. Do your scouting and your surveillance. Learn the patterns of the operation. Learn the primary players. Know the mission of the organization. Don't just go into the hiring process thinking that you're simply applying for a position and thinking, now the basics of the position are all that they're really interested in. Know who the executives are. Follow them, read anything you can about them. It's likely you're not going to meet them as part of the initial hiring process. But what if? Say you're in an interview and the CEO or the VP decides to sit in. And during the conversation, you can subtly reference that you read about their involvement with a charity group, or you incorporate something that they were quoted as saying in an article into your conversation. You've just earned brownie points. Last, study the industry. Every industry has its own rhythm, its own pressure points, its own emerging trends. When you can talk about those intelligently, you position yourself as someone who's already engaged, not someone to be spoon-fed after getting hired, if you get hired. And one of the fastest ways to learn more about the industry is to put yourself with people doing it. Call it a crossover community. Look for groups or people in the field, ideally who used to be one of us, if you can, and get in front of them in person. They'll understand the journey. They can share quality information, insider knowledge, and maybe even sometimes recommend you for jobs not posted yet. So to wrap up this section, if you're less than a year out, your focus isn't about proving you're the most experienced person in the room. It's about showing you're the most adaptable. Drop the "I already know this" mindset. Learn to speak their language. Take steps to understand their culture. Study the companies and the industries, and put yourself with people who are already doing the job. That's having a beginner's mindset. It's not weakness. It's not erasing your past. It's carrying your skills with humility, but adding new tools also. And if you can do that, you'll move through this transition with better ease and confidence. Medium range group. The next 5 years or so is going to move faster than you think. Don't get fooled into thinking that I've got time. It's easy to go into coast mode, not just in this career, but in your preparation for the next. Here's the double-edged sword of our egos. We get overconfident and then we become closed-minded. Our ego says, "I'm good. I got this. I already know enough. I'll cross that bridge when I get there." However, quality evolution says, start stretching now so you're ready when it counts. You need to push and expand beyond your comfort lane. If you stay too comfortable, you risk being caught unprepared when transition finally does come knocking. For these next few years, do something different. Take on assignments that force you to learn new systems. Growth lives in discomfort. If you keep doing what you've always done, you'll keep getting the same results. By rotating into something new, you expand your visibility, build credibility across different functions, and show your current organization that you're versatile. And this is going to pay off now. You'll likely get opportunities you haven't even considered to this point. It's also going to pay off later. You'll be able to sell your ability to adapt quickly, learn new systems, and lead in unfamiliar situations. This is your safe time to test yourself. You're going to make mistakes, but that's okay. You learn, you refine, and you grow before the transition bridge actually gets here. Next, and I can never say this enough, put yourself around people in other industries. Now, Unlike the close range group who are limited on time and who are in need of primarily information, you've got the time to not only gather information, but show who you are. Find groups to join, but be active with the groups. Simply being a member doesn't show people who you are. Preferably, find groups in your area, invest the time to go and be there in person. Talk to people when you're there. Doing this broadens your perspective. You'll hear how the industry innovates, what problems the industry is facing, how people and leaders operate in that space. Additionally, it gives you practice translating your skills into their world. This October 28th and 29th, the Military Officers Association of America is bringing together 3,000 voices, military leaders, warfighters, veterans, and families at National Harbor in Maryland for their inaugural conference, Total Force Plus. This isn't just another military conference. It's a mission to advance solutions for our military and veteran community, including leadership development, quality of life, military transition, and maximizing the veterans' experience. It's all on the table. This is where the next generation of military solutions will be tackled, at the first and only military conference where people outrank everything. And because the mission is so important, MOA is making attendance free for those who are currently serving, the spouses of those currently serving, and all federal employees within the DoD and VA. Secure your seat now, as tickets are limited and offered on a first-come, first-served basis. Visit TotalForcePlus.org to see if you qualify for your free ticket and to register for the conference. Another thing, regardless how, you want to put yourself in situations where you're the least experienced in the room. If you're always the smartest in the room, you're in the wrong room. Growth requires humility. Take on assignments, join discussions, take courses, surround yourself with people who know more than you. When you're the least qualified, you're forced to listen, take notes, and absorb as much as you can. It pushes you to raise your game. At this point in your career, you've probably grown used to being it. And don't act like you don't. The level of comfort that you have right now, I'm willing to bet is top shelf. There's little, if anything, that you can't handle in your bubble. But that can quickly become overconfidence. Putting yourself in something new definitely feels intimidating. You won't understand everything. It sucks to look foolish, especially if you're generally the most experienced person in the room. But what you learn, the embracing humility, and the relationships you get from doing this outweigh any embarrassment. A lot of this comes down to fear. Every one of us carries some kind of fear when it comes to transition. Fear of losing our identity, fear of not being relevant, fear of failing in a new arena. These next few years is your chance to face those fears head on before your transition. Anything you can do now that makes you uncomfortable helps alleviate that fear. Take an opportunity to do some public speaking. Challenge yourself to learn a new technical skill. Maybe ask your leadership to tell you about your weaknesses. No matter how you look at it, fear doesn't lessen by ignoring it. It goes away by confronting it. And the longer you put it off, the bigger it grows. You've got some time. You've got time to stumble, but time to get back up and still be miles ahead by the time the transition comes around. Identify a fear and then make a plan to start chipping away at it today. So in closing, expanding beyond your comfort lane isn't about abandoning what you know. It's about stretching yourself so you don't get caught flat-footed later. Take on new roles that challenge you. Put yourself in situations where you're not the expert. Join some industry groups that open your perspective. Take a civilian leadership course, 2, 3 of them. Consider going to college if that's going to benefit your next career options. And bottom line, face the fears now while you've got time to screw up, but time to bounce back. Remember, this isn't just about preparing for transition. You're also improving your leadership and abilities for the remainder of this career. Expanding beyond your comfort lane, it's humility, it's foresight, and courage, all working as a team. Long range group. You're at the beginning of your career. The time ahead of you can feel like a blessing and a trap. Your focus is on today and what's right in front of you. You're chasing the next assignment, the next promotion. But you can't lose sight that transition is always literally around the corner. There are a lot of factors that can cause you to have to address your transition tomorrow. I'm not telling you to live paranoid. Just take some small preparation steps today. Something simple you can do, master your self-awareness. If you understand who you are, what drives you, where you struggle, how you affect others, you'll be better in any role in this career. But more importantly, you'll be better prepared if transition comes sooner than later. Start by swatting yourself. SWOT, S-W-O-T, not S-W-A-T. A couple times a year, do an analysis on yourself, your strengths, your weaknesses, your opportunities, and your threats. Ask yourself, what strengths am I bringing to the table right now? What are my weaknesses that I keep encountering or that I'm trying to ignore? What opportunities are around me that I'm not taking advantage of? And what threats, internal or external, could derail me if I ignore them? The key is to be honest with yourself. And the benefit today is huge. You get clarity. You see yourself in a better focus, and you can make decisions based on honest evaluation. And don't just think through it in your head. Put it on paper, revisit it, and track your progress. That's how you make real progress. What is the grind? It's not just a routine, but the decision we make to wake up, give everything we've got, then find a way to go further. Grind, spelt G-R-N-D, is more than a brand. It's a movement, an emotion we all feel connected to as we work daily to pursue our goals and support each other. Founded by a former Army Ranger, Grind Activewear has a clear mission: to give 100% and then some more. In sport, fitness, and in life. Functional, high-quality performance wear that's rooted in American culture. Because you demand gear that outworks the rest. Whether you're on the field, in the gym, or building your own lane, Grind is for those who refuse to settle. Go check out the Grind Collective. That's the grnd collective.com and tap into something bigger than clothing. And while you're there, use the promo code TRANSITION15 to get 15% off your purchase. Another thing is your emotional triggers. In our worlds, we're trained to control them, to bury them under discipline and professionalism. And yes, that works in the moment, but burying doesn't mean they disappear. They still influence how you operate, how you react, and how people perceive you. So track your emotional triggers. When do you get defensive? What situations make you impatient? What kind of people or conversations cause you to shut down, get frustrated, or worse, get angry? Write them down and reflect on them. Emotional discipline is very important. Your coworkers and your leadership respect people who can maintain their emotional control. However, whoever hires you next is also going to appreciate this as well. But understanding your triggers means nothing if you don't develop methods to address them. You need to learn the ways to deal with them for you, not ignore or avoid them to where they destroy you from within. Another area to address is your blind spots. All of us have our own blind spots, and everyone we work with could probably identify them if we're confident enough to ask. So ask your leadership, ask your peers, ask those junior to you. Where are you missing the mark? How do you come across in ways you might not realize? None of us likes hearing criticism. Pride pushes us to avoid it. But think about the alternative. If you ignore feedback today, it'll surface later in ways you probably can't control. Think about the people you work with. I'm sure there's someone who's all about the newest gear, But in reality, they'd be better served working on their basics. There's the person who's always got an answer or an opinion, but they don't use all this information on themselves. We all have pieces we don't like to admit, or we legitimately don't even see it. It's better to face it now when you can still adjust. So here's how you do it. You can't just ask once. Build it into your rhythm. Make it normal to ask people to give you feedback. And when they do, listen. Don't defend. Don't explain. Just take it in. And get their long-term buy-in by always thanking them for it. Then privately, take time to reflect on it and develop methods to change. As a whole, you'll be better off. You'll improve your career now. But the bigger payoff is these blind spots won't get so big that you're blindsided in a job interview when you're seeking a new career. Another thing you have to remember, people prefer and remember those who have humility. When they see you take feedback seriously, they're more willing to trust you, to support you, and to follow you. Awareness by itself isn't enough. You've got to act on it. Pick 3 areas where you know or are pointed out that you need to grow. Then commit to a year-long path for each. Maybe it's a technical skill. Maybe it's finding a mentor, working on how you communicate. Whatever it is, make it a priority to get better. Show yourself and the people around you that you're serious about growth. Bottom line, don't overcomplicate it. Keep it simple, but keep it trackable. 3 goals, 12 months, consistent action. The last thing I want to address is empathy. I know this can be a bit touchy-feely, but empathy is one of the most powerful tools you can have in this career and your next. But what does it mean? It means forcing yourself to see situations through the eyes of others, the people you work with, your subordinates, your superiors. It means slowing down long enough to consider their perspective before you act, before you react, or before you say something. Empathy makes you stronger. It helps reduce conflict and makes you more effective, especially as a future leader. People are more willing to follow you when you make them feel understood and valued. And on the civilian side, relationships often outweigh skills and ability. Influence matters as much as expertise. If you're known as someone who listens, who understands, and values others, you'll be respected anywhere you go. Start practicing now. Pick one conversation every day where you practice empathy. Ask one more question that shows you understand. Pause before responding. Then see how it changes the interaction. And over time, little shifts add up to big changes in how people experience you. So to close out this section, your transition is preferably at least a decade away. But preparation isn't just about resumes or applications. It's about building habits of self-awareness that elevate you today and better prepare you for tomorrow. Run your SWOTs so you know where you stand. Track your emotional triggers so you stay ready and steady under pressure. Ask for feedback to uncover your blind spots. And practice empathy so you perform with both strength and humanity. Here's the thing. If you do these things, you won't just be ready for a transition someday. You'll be stronger as a leader now, and you'll carry yourself with a maturity that's going to separate you from the pack. Transition isn't a single moment. It's a process. And for you, that process starts today. Mastering self-awareness now doesn't just prepare you for life after service. It transforms who you are in service, right here, right now. Maybe you don't feel it yet. Maybe you think you've still got time. But the truth is, our careers are always shifting, sometimes slowly, sometimes all at once. And when that shift comes, when the uniform comes off, the questions won't just be what you've done. The real question will be who you're willing to become. That's why the choices you make each day between staying fixed in pride or leaning into growth isn't just about the future. It's shaping how you'll be when the page finally turns. Because at the heart of every transition, the test isn't just about skill or resume. It's about how you balance confidence with humility and strength with openness. It's the constant tension between ego versus evolution. If you stayed until this point, thank you. Staying till the end definitely helps the engagement ratings. I would really appreciate any comments you have. What do you like? What don't you like? What am I doing wrong? What's missing? Reach out on social media, send me an email. The links are all in the show notes. Something else? Please share the podcast with anyone you think that could benefit from it and enjoy it. And last, don't forget, sign up for the newsletter.